the opening of the academic year. We're glad you're here. To those of you who are starting your studies at Delft this year, I hope this university will soon feel like home for you, like it has for me for the past few years. And for everyone who's been around a bit longer, welcome back. This afternoon, we hope to start the year off on a high note. As you've probably gathered, I'll be your host for this event. It's an honor to open the academic year with all of you, and I am excited about our program for this afternoon. For most of you, I'll be an unfamiliar face, so let me take a second to introduce myself. I first set foot on this campus a few years ago when I started my bachelor's in industrial design engineering. Is there anyone else here from IDE? Not a lot of you? All right. You can actually still find me here, find me at IDE, as I'm currently doing my master's in strategic product design. Now, if I do look familiar, it might be because I write a monthly column for Delta, our university newspaper, and you can find my pieces and many other interesting articles about TU Delft and student life over on their website. When I'm not studying, you might find me doing something completely different. This past year, I've started ballroom dancing lessons, which I do with a lot of enthusiasm and very little talent. And that's actually what made this year's theme, Can You Hear the Music, resonate with me. Because when you're learning to dance, you spend a lot of time listening to songs, really listening. You have to hear the rhythm to know when to step and twirl, all while not tripping over your own feet or stepping on your partner's toes. And then at some point, it all comes together. And that's actually what academia is all about. It's not only about passing courses, or publishing papers, but about seeking true understanding, about seeing all the separate parts come together and hearing the music of the whole. And that's what we'll be thinking about today. We've got a great program ahead with inspiring talks and performances, and even some music making of our own. But that's enough of an introduction. I think it's time for our first speaker, Professor Hans Hellendoorn, the Vice Rector Magnificus and Vice President for Education at TU Delft. Quite the job title. But did you know that he studied at TU Delft here as a student and was actually part of the very first cohort of computer science students? He then went on to complete a PhD in fuzzy logic and worked as an innovation manager at Siemens. He returned to TU Delft as a professor in control theory and has helped many students and PhD candidates reach the finish line over the years. So it's safe to say he knows education inside and out. Please welcome Professor Hans Hellendoorn to the piano.
As you can hear, playing the piano is not my greatest talent. And the microphone is also making disturbances. As you can hear, playing the piano is not my greatest talent. However, believe it or not, I had lessons for over 10 years and exercised every day, but not enough talent. Happily, when I studied here in Delft, I detected my talents, and they are on computer science, artificial intelligence, on philosophy, in general, research and innovation. And you also will be here in Delft. Yeah, that is better. Yeah. Here in Delft, you will learn what your talent is and how you can make the most of it. And that's what we are here now today, to show what the possibilities are for you here. I will go now to the lectern, and I promise that the next person that is sitting here will give a much better performance. So welcome to the opening of the academic year. First year students, returning students, staff, and everyone joining us here today, whether here in person or online. A special welcome to our brand new students in the audience. And I know there are quite a few of you here today, and I can see a lot of faces. Let's take a moment to celebrate this fresh start together in this festive musical setting. But after today, or actually probably starting today, things are going to get a bit different, more serious. This is the beginning of a whole new phase in your life. An important one that we hope will lead you toward a fulfilling and rewarding career. I'm more at the other end of my professional journey now. Over the years, I've seen many student generations come and go, and if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's this. Start today. The best thing you can do is start studying this week. I remember that doing myself, and it gave me so much pleasure, from doing to understanding. Hopefully you took part in the OW, in the Ontvangstweek, in the introduction week this August, got to know the campus, the city of Delft, met people, maybe even made friends. So now on day one, it's time to start focusing on your program and your courses. As far off as it may feel right now, what you start learning today will become the foundation of your future. Mathematics, statics, dynamics, design principles, even the basics, especially the basics, are the stepping stones you need. Our programs are carefully built so that everything is connected together.
Whether you're aiming to become a railway engineer, architect, biotechnologist, or anything else, get going with those first building blocks right away. Once you start seeing the pattern in your program, it will help you stay motivated. But it means taking ownership, staying on top of things. It's totally doable. It's really totally doable. So many students have proved it. But it takes discipline. And yes, that's a big change from the secondary school, isn't it? This isn't just about getting through the next test or making it to the autumn break. It's a lifestyle. It's taking responsibility. When we ask students the difference between secondary school and TU Delft, here's what they say. Secondary school is mostly one way. Teachers teach and pupils usually just sit and take it in, especially in the first years. At TU Delft, things are different. Education here is about active participation and meaningful interaction between students and lecturers. You share a responsibility for your learning process. And it works. Our students notice and appreciate this, and so do our teachers. They value your questions, your curiosity, and the fresh ideas you bring. It's not just a two-way street, it's more like a busy junction. So today isn't just the start of your program, it's the moment you officially join the wider TU Delft community. A community of students, scientists, staff, alumni, and more. And I hope you truly feel welcome and at home, because you are. This isn't the university of the professors or of the board. It's from students and lecturers together. What's important to understand is that studying at TU Delft is more than just earning a degree. Though, of course, that matters. Yes. But let's be real. This is the internet age. Everyone, anywhere, in any country, can pick up the same textbooks and learn the same context as you do. So what makes Delft different? What gives you the edge? I believe it's our educational culture. One that puts quality and dedication first. Many of our students stand out for their craftsmanship and commitment. They bring our demanding programs to a successful finish, and our educators are just as dedicated to helping you get there. We also teach you to go beyond the technical content, beyond the math, physics, quantum mechanics, and everything else. We teach you how to apply what you know, how to break down problems from different perspectives, how to work in teams, how to speak up and defend your ideas. In short, we teach you that what we call the Delft mindset. It's just like music. The notes are the same, but it's how you bring them to life that makes the difference. Cynthia will tell you more about this. This means when you graduate, you'll have something extra to offer. Whether you join a company or you start your own, you'll have that edge, that's something special, that's what makes you a Delft engineer. And even after you graduate, you don't leave our community. One thing we offer is a chance to keep your knowledge up to date. We've invested heavily in lifelong learning. So much that we now see it as our fourth core task. So education, research, innovation, and also lifelong learning. With our open and online courses, we reach millions. And our specialized courses help professionals stay ahead in fast-changing fields. So we truly hope you'll be TU Delft for life. That's already quite a lot to take in. But I also want to talk about values. Joining our academic community means making a commitment and showing the right kind of behavior. Yes, it's tempting to party every night, and you should enjoy yourself while you are here, but show some moderation. At TU Delft, we expect everyone to live by our values. Always do your own work. That's how you learn the most. And respect others. Make sure everyone feels safe and free to be themselves. In that spirit, I invite you to take part in our annual Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Week this October, themed at TU Delft for All. The National Coordinator Against Racism and Discrimination will join us as our special guest. A word about safety. If at any point you feel overwhelmed, or if someone behaves inappropriately toward you or someone else, please reach out. We have academic counselors, student psychologists, and confidential advisors. Finally, let me introduce one more important group here to help and represent you, the Student Council. Student Council, where are you? Ah, there they are. Yeah, in the front row. They are your voice on the campus. They know what it's like to be a student here. So talk to them. If you got concerns or ideas, they are a great place to start. And for us on the university board, there are eyes and ears on campus too. The new Student Council starts today. But before I came on stage, I asked them for good advice. Here's what they told me. First, and most importantly, be active and involved. Join a student association or get involved in social activities or sports, volunteering, and so on. There's so much to do in Delft. Second, look out for each other. Social safety starts with you and your circle of influence. And finally, enjoy life as a student. I wholeheartedly agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Hans. I think that set the tone nicely. And now, I think it's time for some real music. And for that, Quinten de Jong is here. Quinten is a musician and music teacher in both classical and modern music. He started cello lessons when he was 7 and has been making music ever since. Klankspoor is his modular techno project. Klankspoor means something like soundtrack or soundscape, and that's what he'll be creating for us to hear today. A beautiful soundscape live on stage. But that's not all. He will be joined by spoken word artist Tank and VJ Arstrai for some visuals. Arstrai means to get lost in Irish, and that's what we're gonna do now. So sit back and get lost in the music that the three of them create for us.
a sound, a slight hum of the universe. Atoms vibrate, stars oscillate, galaxies rotate, and even space-time itself can ripple. All different forms of waves that we humans love to explain through patterns, ratios, and numbers. And then patterns become poetry, and numbers start to sing when we let logic dance with feeling. And in this, we see the mirror. Music is mathematics that learned how to feel. The gravitational pull of music towards its center so happens to be the key that opens up the lock to the understanding of our galaxy. Molecules achieving a higher state one by one until they reach harmony. Why do we have to so desperately try to explain the world to ourselves in a language that is virtually the same but just sounds different? Both music and math do not require words, yet calculating integrals does not sound like music to my ear. The math behind the music is like a perfectly logical puzzle that seems to solve itself rationally, without fear. Perhaps proof and passion walk parallel paths, touching at times, yet never merging. So in the arts, the vibrations of a musician are the brushstrokes of an impressionist painter portraying their emotions through sound, not color. They're painting a soundscape influencing a crowd of many. Or a dancer whose body absorbs sound and translates it into fleeing glimpses across the stage with splendor. Each step a sum, each leap a formula of feeling. A servant to the relentless pulse of the music. Because emotion is motion, energy in expression, a wave with intention. After all, our very biology is chemistry, is physics, is math, is waves, is sound, is music, which moves us mentally and spiritually, factually and physically, and changes our state of mind in an instant. We are algorithms with heartbeats, formulas with feelings designed to resonate, not just calculate. We are mere particles, determined to surf the waves of the ups and downs of life in search of the one holy note. Maybe you and I are just living in the wrong key, and happiness is just a simple modulation away. Shift the scale, change the frame, and suddenly the song's not the same. Major happenings and minor events in this interval of time that we call our life. The notes and bellies hit me in the stomach where the bass continuously reverberates. The perfect pitch doesn't exist, yet we try to reach that asymptote. One misstep results in dissonance. Yet even in dissonance lies direction, attention seeking resolution. Like our lives, unfinished symphonies filled with mistakes and missed notes, yet always leaning forward, aching for release. And maybe that's why we listen. Because music shows us that even chaos can find closure. If you listen carefully to the life that surrounds you, you can hear that each person has their own musical motive playing in the background, their own main character moving music. A soundtrack stitched to our souls, sometimes hidden, sometimes heard. And when those melodies meet, when your theme and mine intertwine, they form harmonies greater than either could alone. So people, make some noise. Raise your voice a little. Speak up for yourself. 2 or more voices with the same frequency amplifies the message. Because harmony is just humanity in sync. When we tune in together, we amplify what we think. So all over the world, from Gregorian hymns to K-pop, from Tchaikovsky to Klangspor, there will always be a relationship between music and math. Since the beginning of time till the end of the future, sound will be there as an endless echo. But an echo should always bounce back to the start, back to the beginning. So in the end, there is sound, the slight hum of the universe.
Doesn't it? Just a quick moment to catch your breath. It's an absolute honor to be here. My name is Jefta Friend. I'm the CEO and founder of Glimp, and we help people to catch their breath. And today I would like to take you along on a story on how I translated my studies at the TU Delft into doing something good for society, into Glimp. And for all first-year students in the room today, keep in mind that just some years ago I was sitting in that exact same chair. And I had a blast of an opening week, the OV, and I was pretty hyped to start my studies, industrial design engineering. And studies was wonderful, but there was actually one thing even more wonderful. Vivian. I'm happy to call her my wife now. And she also studied design, and we start with her because this is also why Glimp started. So conveniently, she was also my neighbor living at the opposite side of the street. So every morning, same day, same time, I would go to my bike. We would wave at each other and go to college. So this is how most people know Vivian. Sunny, bright, happy as a personality. But it hasn't always been like this. She suffered from tiredness, felt hopeless from time to time, had burnout complaints. And you know, when you go to the psychologist, everything seems fine again. You feel motivated, you got your homework, you know what to do, and I've seen this with many friends around. But after a few days, in between the sessions of the psychologist, the real struggle starts. Low energy, after a regular day, you find yourself with destructive behavior, scrolling TikTok. In between the sessions of the psychologist, you need something to hold on to. Or houvast, as we say in Dutch. And as a product designer, I saw this problem of burnout, and I thought, why don't we make actually something tangible to hold on to? And this later on became my product, the Pebbles. And Vivian is not alone. There's 1.6 million people in the Netherlands currently having burnout complaints. And this costs our society over 3 billion euros per year. And this is due to the stress-related health issues only. And at Glimp, we think this is due to the fact that 80% of us is breathing too fast, leading to unnecessary stress. Because the tempo of your breathing is strongly related to how your body deals with stress. So that's why breath training helps to get stress resilient, and this is a recent article from Nature stating this fact. And that's why we make the Pebbles, the smart breathing coach for in your palms. So we help people with the healthy habit of conscious breathing. And it's really simple. You just hold the device in your hands. I shake to wake the Pebbles. Now it will start to adjust my heart rate. And when my left hand vibrates, breathe in. When the right hand vibrates, breathe out again. And in this way, we can naturally unwind the body from stress. And there's a sensor inside the device. Under my thumb here, we adjust our heart rate, SpO2 levels, and we synchronize with someone's breathing. So we take him from a high breathing tempo towards a more slow and healthy, calm breathing tempo. And after each session, you see the result in the app. So over time, you can track your progress. And this is really what our users love the most. It's different than those mindfulness apps because you see the result. And we got good feedback on the vibrations. They feel nice. They're easy to follow. And what people like best is that you get out of your head into your body. So you can use the Pebbles offline, as we just did, but there's also an app with it. So you can follow breathing exercises. We have a monthly program, and you can build your own sessions. And the best thing is actually that these sessions, the breathing sessions, are all recorded by actual breathing experts. So they take you along in the exercise, and we have over 60 healthcare professionals using the Pebbles in practice today. This is a few of them. And together with them, we've been able to prove the effectiveness of Glimp. Because after 1 month of using Glimp, there's 19% less stress and 12% less chance to burn out. It's a great result. Very proud of it, and if you put that in context, it's twice as good as your regular meditation app. Headspace is at 10%. But wait a second. I also wanted to share a bit of my personal story on how I got here. Because remember, just some years ago, I was sitting in that exact same chair. Oh, the chairs looked a bit different in my time. So this was 2015, I started my bachelor's. And in 2018, I did my bachelor end project. It's over here. Yeah, I know, it doesn't look great. Some sort of sleeping mask, and it was meant to be worn during the day, so people could daydream. I wanted to help people daydream. So there's hypnotic lights involved, and it didn't really work out. So actually, later on, I continued and thought like, okay, let's take a Build Your Startup elective course. Highly recommended if you're into startups. We improved the concept, worked on the business model, and later on, I decided to also do my graduation report on it. So you see me here, moved into meditation, do a bit of breath work, a lot of wires still in the prototype. But as a student, I could participate in the 4TU Impact Challenge. It's a great moment to get a big stage and tell about your story, and we won. Suddenly, we got some media attention, some partners wanting to collaborate, and with a few friends of mine from the Student Association, we decided to start Glimp. And we built our first 3D printed prototype. The pebbles, and keep in mind there's no app yet, there's no sensor yet, because only later on we reckoned that if you have a mental health disease, and well, I saw Vivian improving, she didn't notice. It's mental health, so you don't see the progress, so you need an external source, like a sensor, to give objective measures and to keep you motivated to continue to work. Well, this pitch, this story, we tried at the Philips Innovation Awards, and we actually won. So suddenly it got serious. There was some money involved, even bigger media coverage, and we put this money into our new prototype. Put the sensor in, made our first app. We joined Delft startup incubator. They're also located here at the campus. And together with their help, only 1 year later, we were able to win the top 100 Dutch design. A very big event, the Dutch Design Week. We were able to launch our product and get in some pre-orders because we had this nice render. This is what it's going to be like. And with the pre-order money, we were able to actually produce it. And then again, 1 year later, we won the IF Design Award. And we got chosen as the best well-being product of 2025. So yeah, these pebbles. I want it to be more than just a gadget, you know? We see the pebbles as therapy support, because we want to help those people in mental health care in the GGZ, on the waiting list. And that's why recently we started doing breath coaching. So we introduced the dashboard into the system, and now the healthcare professional can monitor the clients remotely. So you see their stress reduction, you can see biodata, you get a little bit of grip on mental health, and we help to monitor the engagement of the clients. And suddenly this dashboard and Glimp becomes something you can implement in the healthcare system. So we work towards data-driven mental health care. And before I move on, I want to give a quick shout out to the team. Of course, it wasn't possible without me. They're also here in the room, all very smart TU Delft engineers. And I remember, especially in the beginning, we sat down with the team and we said, like, yeah, why do we even start a company? We want to make impact, okay, but why a company? Well, we think a company is a great vehicle to actually serve society, to do something good for society with a company. So that's why the last few minutes of my presentation, I want to talk about how Glimp is helping society, what we're doing for society. And we think we can fix this puzzle. We can fix the problem of burnout. And if we talk about Glimp, we talk about breathwork, right? So breathwork could be a great solution, great fix for burnout, but there's a few things wrong. It's unknown, or it's stigmatized. People think it's floaty or new age. It's not reimbursed, so breathwork can't make systematic impact. And why is that? Because it's new. There's not so much evidence on it. And then if you look at another component in society, the people, they have stress. Breathwork could help, but they're unaware that breathwork can help. So then if you look at the healthcare, it's not reimbursed. Why is that? Because health insurance needs one standardized method to insure it. And breathwork isn't there yet. And then if you look at research, it's really hard to find evidence because breathing is really hard to measure. And until now, there was actually no tech that could actually measure breathing. So it would be stupid not to use this moment and put out a message to all professors in the room. We need your help. We need more research on breathwork to prove the positive effects. So this is how we see the problem. And it's Glimp's role in society to fix this puzzle. So we teach people how to breathe, we teach people about the positive effects of breathwork, and we support people in their battle against stress through the pebbles. And an example of this is in our collaboration with Unife. So we set up this campaign, and together with them, we were able to reach 1.8 million people in the Netherlands. We teach the healthy habit of conscious breathing together with Unife. And Unife decided to recommend the pebbles to everyone who is in stress. And another example is that, well, it's Glimp's role to show the effectiveness of breathing and implement it in the healthcare system. And the example is that we work together with Haga Hospital, and we teach children how to breathe. So Haga Hospital reached out to me. They said, like, Jefta, the asthma treatment's not working right now. What we do is we prescribe medicine, right? The asthma puffer. And it's basically symptom management. People, the kids, they think it's boring, so they don't participate in the treatment. And when they do the homework, they experience shortness of breath. And it's hard to measure the breathing. So we set up a study. So this is how it currently goes. You got the diagnosis in the hospital, and then you get sent home as a kid with the puffer, some homework on paper. Then you have to get back to the hospital and again fill in the questionnaires. That's how they measure. You go round and round in the system. So we set up a study where you compare the pebbles with the puffer. So in the new procedure, you get your diagnosis in the hospital. Then you get sent home as a kid with the pebbles and a breathing program specifically made for kids. And then we do remote monitoring. So we made this program so you go from level hyperventilation, get panic attacks from the breathing towards box breathing in 28 days. Box breathing is a healthy exercise for kids. And every week there's an animal voice teaching you something about breathing. It's cool, right? So we focus on solving the problem, we make it fun, patient-focused, and easy to measure. So again, an example on how we contribute to research to prove the effectiveness. And I'm closing off here, because you see that Glimp is moving towards data-driven breathing therapy. So we can transform the healthcare system to go from curing and prescribing medicine to preventing diseases, because Glimp helps to create healthy breathing habits. So then together we can make a stress-resilient society. And Glimp is there for everyone who experiences stress, breathing complaints, or mental health issues. And we help you to catch your breath. Thank you.
Thanks, Jefta. That was really interesting. Can I ask you a few questions before you run off?
Of course.
Perfect. So what most of you probably don't know is that Jefta and I have actually met before because we were members of the same student association. And I've also met your lovely wife, Vivian. Could you tell us, how is she doing now?
Yeah, thanks for asking. She's fine. Yeah, she works 3.5 days in a week now in Delft as a technical writer. You know those lovely IKEA manual drawings? She makes them.
Nice, nice. I'm really glad to hear that. And there's a lot of students here today who are just starting out. And of course, you told us a bit about your journey as a student here at TU Delft. Could you tell us, do you have a piece of advice for those who are just starting?
Some advice. I would say stay your naive and optimistic self. Naive because if you look at the world's most complex problems, there's so many people who know it's complex, who know it's not going to be easy or maybe impossible to fix it. But then until someone comes along who does not know that.
Thank you. That sounds like good advice. One last question. If there's anyone here who's excited about GLIMP specifically, what can they do?
Join. Of course, welcome. So join at glimp.health. We're looking for programmers, and we're just located at the campus, so feel free to reach out. Drop by for a cup of coffee, try the pedals. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm sure your email box will be completely full this afternoon.
Let's see.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Now, I hope you're in for some music making of your own. Our next guest is Vanessa Broekholter, who is a music teacher who plays and teaches guitar, bass, and drums, amongst others. And today she's here to teach us some instant composing. So let's see if we can find a common rhythm and get in tune with each other. Please give a warm welcome to Vanessa.
Join me, this movement. Join me with your feet. After rain comes sun. Time to play and explore the world outside. In this amazing, beautiful weather. Play with us and only clap your hands when the ball is in the air. So clap fast. try to clap the rhythm of the ball. Yes. Hey. Whoa. Beware. Amazing, thank you. We can play music, but we can also try to read it. So read along. My music pattern, rhythm, and we read it horizontal in 3 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is not only music, but also a little bit mathematics. So there are 3 hidden patterns in the relationship of the numbers. If you look at the blue line, what can we say about the numbers? What pattern? Anybody? Just say it. Of course, we all know our prime numbers. The yellow line, the golden ratio. Yes, thank you. Awesome. The white line is quite easy, only even numbers. But what is easy in mathematics can be a challenge in music. And we're gonna do this challenge in 3 groups, like a music chain or a human sequencer. So this side of the audience, take the first line, blue, then yellow in the middle, and in here, the white. So we clap, we play on our legs or knees, and here comes one stamp with your foot. So let's just try it and practice it. We start here. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 4, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 6, 7. Last round. And stop. Yes, very nice, thank you. Now we're gonna try it with body percussion. All the lines just together. So we start with our hands, and then on our legs, knees, and end with a stamp. So let's try it and stand up with a little more power, a little more energy all together. First, yes, looks like a grand final. So we're gonna do it all together, line by line. Start with our hands. Yeah? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 4. Just all together at the same time. 8, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Last round. 1, 8, 6, 7, 1. And stop. Amazing. A little bit faster. A little bit. Try to feel it in your body with the body percussion. And step in. Can you hear the music? So let's move down a little bit, everybody. And say, whoa. Whoa. 'Cause we'll never be wrong. One more time, together. Whoa. Whoa. Repeat after me. Whoa. 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 Okay, here we go. The pattern. Last time. 5. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. Yes, woo! You are amazing, thank you.
Well, that was more movement than I generally got in my mathematics lectures, but it sounded awesome. Thank you. All right, for the next part, we have to settle down a bit because our next guest is an associate professor at TU Delft's multimedia computing group, where she works on trustworthy and responsible AI. And she's also acting chief diversity officer of TU Delft. On top of that, she's a member of the Dutch Young Academy, and last year she received the Woman in AI Netherlands Diversity Leader Award. And on top of all her work in academia, she's also a professionally trained classical pianist who still performs regularly. So please welcome Cynthia Lien.
Thank you very much. In the program, I've been announced as the keynote, and that's quite interesting. Let me hope my slides come on, which they are not doing yet. There they are. Because actually, we are restarting the slides. Thank you. As a professional, you got a giveaway already. I do, here in TU Delft, work with keys and make notes, or hope my students do so when I teach. But as a pianist, I also work with keys and I interpret notes. And that's what the keynote today will mostly be about. Because as a classical musician, I've been working on repertoire that's written by a composer. This is one, his name is Frédéric Chopin, famous piano composer. And these composers often write down their compositions in the form of what we call a musical score. And this is the beginning of one of his most famous pieces, Nocturne Opus 9, number 2. And if there you are as a pianist and you want to play this, typically you're told to do what the composer intended, meaning you should do what's there as precisely as possible. But what does that actually mean? And what does it mean to be in line with what the composer intended? Also, what's this value of reinterpreting something that has been played so many times before? Chopin died in 1849. What's the point of me doing that yet again? Now, if the point truly was to be as precisely as possible at rendering what is encoded in that score, I could easily be replaced by a machine that will be way more precise than me. So let's ask a machine to play what's here, and then it will sound like this. And let's be honest, I think that sounds pretty terrible. A real human being would do something like this. And you already hear, I'm not actually playing every note at the same intensity. The left hand is a good example of that. All the notes there are equal length, equal intensity. That's not what I'm doing. I phrase them. So there is room there. I'm not actually doing the physically or mathematically precise thing that's written there. And even more so, as an interpreter, I've been puzzled by this music of Chopin because he often does things like this, that within his notes, he writes down these small scribbled notes, and they don't really fit the time. And I just wondered what to do with that. Is that supposed to be optional or an interpretation or something? And if it's an interpretation, why would you write it down like that? And I had conversations on that with my teachers, and they said, yeah, it's an ornamentation, something to the side of what you do in music. Oh, and by the way, Chopin also was always very inspired by the bel canto opera singers of that time. Now, then I got really confused, because if you're a singer, you have to breathe at some point, and you hear that in the music. So what would that mean to a pianist? Again, I cannot ask Chopin. He died long ago. I cannot listen to recordings of what he heard. It didn't exist yet in 1849. But when I researched this, luckily, people have written texts about this. And many great singers of that time actually wrote down pedagogical works in which they wrote down how to properly perform music. And what you saw there was that if musical phrases came to an end in bel canto opera, as a singer, you were expected to make it your own, to actually come with a kind of improvisation that fitted your own voice. And every singer had their own way of doing this. Also, you see in these notes that they're not actually super following the time as written down, even more so than what I did to you. And luckily, at the very start of recording, some of the people who did this for their careers were at the very ends of their careers, and they still recorded a bit of it. So I'm playing a little bit of opera for you now, in which singer Adelina Patti is singing in this style. We do indeed have evidence that this is what Chopin had heard and was inspired by. That nocturne of which you just heard a very small part, he actually made different variants of that. In the notebooks of his students, he would write alternative ornamentations that are unlike what you just heard. And at the very end of my talk, I actually will play this nocturne for you with some of these original suggestions for alternatives that Chopin gave to his students. But again, this has been a recording that's very rare. Only some people at the very end of their careers, at the start of the recording era. So we forgot about it. Much of our aesthetic today is about being as precise as possible, showing off your skill. And really, it creates a lot of fear in musicians. A lot of stage fright is about messing up. You'll play the note wrong. They will see you're a fraud. Luckily, there also are people who try to raise that this is an issue, and some of the greatest examples there are two of the most significant mentors to me in my artistic life, Alexei Igudisman and Yankee Jew. They currently are actually retiring as a duo from the stage, playing their last concerts, but this is some of the work that they've done. And this is funny, but at the same time, they tell a lot of stories in what they do. And they criticize, actually, how we often perform. When they work with orchestras, they play with them. They literally play music and want to be playful. They invite people to dance with them, and many people cannot do it. The ones who can, they bring on the stage, and it needs true mastery to be able to dance and play. But if you do that, you will create more music. I've seen them also work with children, and there they also say why they do the things they do.
Somehow, society tends to oppress that incredible imagination, but we've managed to keep a little bit of that.
A little bit?
That keeps us fresh and creative, and what we want to do is to try and reignite the childlike imagination that all of us have within us.
We found that one of the problems with the musician, especially in the classical field, is that we're very stuck physically. This actually affects the sound production, the playing, the whole aura actually of the performer.
So you see what they do with children is they work with them, they let them disrupt one another while they play. And that's really scary because you lose control, but as they do that, they actually get freer and more natural, and the music will become better. And I think these lessons are important now you're embarking on a new academic year, because many of these questions I asked before about music can be asked about your learning experience. What does it mean to follow an instruction as precisely as possible? What does it mean to be in line with what a teacher or a mentor or someone you admire intended? And what's the value of redoing something that has been done so many times before? And this becomes especially important in the current age in which AI, actually my technical field, is so popular. Because with tools, as we've seen, like ChatGPT, with the current push for generative AI, there's been a lot of push towards technologies that have been completely optimized to replicate what was deemed a success before. The way we mathematically optimized and trained these was to conform to examples we had in the past. And there is more to that. Also there, in terms of the types of products and apps you see in this space, very often there is this narrative of productivity. The CEO of Suno, a very popular generative music app these days, said, well, you know, it's not really enjoyable to make music now. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of practice. You need to get really good at an instrument or at a piece of production software. And I think the majority of people don't enjoy the majority of time they spend making music. So there's this app to de-stress you. You just write down what you want and you get your music. That's a promise that I think many people who play instruments will find very difficult to recognize. And maybe to make it easier, a field in which I've seen these things much less questioned is sports. Say that we speak about working out at the gym. It's not really enjoyable to work out at the gym. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. We might not enjoy the majority of the time. It might even hurt, right? And still we do it. And we do it not to become alike to some Olympian sports person. Sometimes some of us do, and that's great. But many of us don't, and we still keep doing this because we know what the value of this is. Similarly, as was already raised, I feel music teaches us a lot about this. Because to me, it is the bridge between the emotional, the mental, and the physical. You want to express things, you want to interpret and learn. And the way you have to do it is partially with your body, or fully, as we just saw. And much of this also pertains to us as we go into this learning experience. Because it might not feel physical when you're studying math or anything else. But while you are going through this, while you're going to the grid, while you're exercising, you are learning the way you are working out or learning to master a musical instrument. And as you do this, despite all the incentives that might be around us, think of this story. Think of what's there beyond the notes and how you can also find your voice in that. Of course, these notes are important. Like, if I would play Opus 9 number 2, and I would play all the notes differently, I make another piece. That's not the same anymore. That's true. But still, there is way more to it than an exact replication of what someone else did before, and there is value in me taking my own interpretation of this. And also to you, my colleagues who are teaching these students, I also ask for you to keep the same in mind as you are teaching them. And here, I'd like to invite you to think, well, I'm going to play the Chopin piece for you. Chopin had been inspired by singers who found their own voice. and he transferred that to the notes of his students. What would be the equivalent of that today?
Thank you, Cynthia. What an absolute treat to have you play for us. All right, that brings us to the final part of our program this afternoon. Hans, would you like to share some takeaways from today?
Yeah, I liked it very much. Yeah, so it was beautiful. And I learned a lot also about the relation between mathematics and music, something that I'm very interested in. And if I have to wrap up, yeah, so I probably mostly liked the show from Vanessa, because it shows what we can achieve when we all cooperate, when we all work together, when we are all in sync, and we are all just listening to each other and reacting to each other. And what was your favorite?
Good question. I loved Cynthia's playing just now because student life can be hectic and it's just nice to sit and enjoy and listen. And I also really liked Jefta's story from earlier because he showed us the entire journey he took from when he was a student, where I am now, to now having a company, which is really inspiring to hear.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that was indeed also inspiring, yeah, everything. But even the sweetest song has its final note. That means that this academic ceremony has now come to an end. And I want to thank you for being here today, and please join us in the foyer on the first floor if you can, where we will continue the party on the sounds of our DJ Miret. But before that, please stand up and wait while the cortege leaves the hall via the stage. So and after that, everyone can leave via both exits upstairs. And now, I declare the academic year 2025-2026 officially open.